Dan Geltrude joins us now. He's a founder of an accounting firm in New Jersey. Dan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, so we are entering the busiest time of the year. It is tax season yet again. Dan, break this down for us. How bad is this shortage of accountants?
Well, to begin with, to put it in perspective, over the last 2 years, there have been 300,000 accountants leaving the profession. That's an enormous amount of the U.S. workforce in the profession. At the same time, you have a lot less people going into accounting. And what do I mean by that? The pipeline from colleges and universities has gotten very, very thin. So what's happened is that the profession is in quite a squeeze where you have a lot of people leaving and not as many coming in to help replace them.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just reiterate what you said, because you said that more than 300,000 accountants, auditors are quitting. Why? And where are they going?
Well, that's kind of the question for the ages, at least for somebody in my position, to say, where are all these accountants going? So the common concerns that you're hearing out there is that just too many hours, and they don't have the work-life balance that they really want to have. So they look for other areas where they can get that balance in their life. And again, part of the reason that is happening is because you don't have enough new people coming into the profession. And because during the pandemic, the accounting profession was bogged down with so many new regulations and laws. So it wasn't just our normal work to do within the normal deadlines. It was a lot more work to do within the deadlines.
But what is this all about? Because as I understand it, this is an industry that pays fairly well. So why are people walking away at the end of the day? I know that you're saying maybe not enough work-life balance, but how do you fix something like this? Is the U.S. doing enough to entice people to join the profession?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because I think that there is a very specific challenge to the accounting world, and that is where it all begins, in the colleges and universities. Now, in most professions, you would get your degree with 120 credits, or 4 years. With accountants, you're required to have 150 credits, which means an extra year of college. And by the way, those 30 additional credits that accountants need to get, those are not specified. So they're empty credits. You can take them in anything. So what these students are looking at is saying, college educations are getting more and more expensive, and we got to take these 30 additional credits. So our return on investment becomes significantly reduced. You know what? I'll pick another major. I think that's what's happening.
So, this is impacting many industries. It's not just impacting the accounting industry, and it sounds like you need to have a lot of training, a lot of education. But I also understand that your firm has had to hire international accountants from India, has had to outsource the work. How unusual is this?
Well, it's becoming more and more commonplace, simply because in order to be able to meet the deadlines and to be able to have quality of work, you have to be able to have enough people to do the work. So you rely on technology and new technology, but that only goes so far. So you need to be able to find another way. So the international solution is becoming far more commonplace. That is no longer just for the big firms. It is trickling down to medium and small size firms. And there is, a lot of misinformation about that. It's not all of a sudden that people from outside the country are doing your tax return and they're your new tax preparer. They're really doing primarily the tax input, meaning just getting the numbers onto the tax return so it can be reviewed and strategized by a U.S. accountant. So it's really just a supplement as opposed to a replacement.
I know that you are a money guy, so I want you to go ahead and run the numbers for us right here, because I'm curious to see what is really behind this. Is it because if you look at accounting, you could get somebody overseas, outsource this work because this is a job that could be done remotely, and then at the same time, you're also saving money in the process. Does that factor into this?
Well, it's interesting because there's not only a shortage of accountants in the United States, it's actually gone worldwide. So as accounting firms are going outside the United States to try to find additional accountants, obviously you start dealing with scarcity, and with scarcity, prices go up. So people think that, oh, if you can get a worker in a place like India, it's significantly cheaper. It's not significantly cheaper. The wages, although not quite the same as the U.S., have risen substantially over the last few years. Where you do have a tendency to save some money is you don't have the benefits costs quite as much as you have here. So there is some savings, but I think most firms going to places like India really are willing to pay whatever it takes to be able to get the work done.
All right, good point. All right, so Dan, before I let you go, we're out of time, but what are your thoughts on today's GDP report? Are we headed for a recession, yes or no?
Well, I don't know if I could say yes or no, but that's a tough one because it does allow a little bit for an explanation. Look, I think it's going to be really tough to avoid a recession because the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, the whole point is to bring down demand, which is going to bring down production, which brings down GDP.
Well, they're meeting on February 1st. We'll be watching closely. Dan Geltrude, head of the Geltrude Company. Always great to see you, my friend. Thank you so much.